So many of you here asked me about my favorite tools and about the tools that I use most often, and to kind of show you and explain what I like in each. And I decided for this week video to do it and show you some of the tools that I'll be taking with me for the next few weeks. So tomorrow we are leaving to Greece for several weeks, almost 2 months, and I'll be working on a new exciting project that I will talk about more in the end of the video. And I've been kind of collecting and taking some of the tools that I use the most in the last few months and years. And of course I have much more tools that I will be taking with me to this journey, but I wanted to show you the tools that I enjoy the most for carving. And I will kind of explain what I like and what I don't like in each, and what I use for each specific type of carving. And I have some more tools here on the back, so let me take you closer and show you each tool. So although I have several tools here on the table, let me clear some of them and start with the slide knives. So I have here 4 that I'll be taking to my journey, and I will start with the most common one, which is or at least the one that I use the most, is the Mora 120. Now this one is actually not finished. I'm working on the handle, and you can see that there is a bit of a gap here because I need to file down a bit in the bolster and fit it a bit better. And as you can see on these ones, I made a sheath, so I'll need to make a sheath for that as well. And I have here, actually, I started working on it here, this part. So the Mora 120, and I have here the one that you can buy. It's the small slide knife, basically. Obviously you can buy it with other companies as well, but I really like the Mora knife company. I trust them quite a lot, and I feel they have quite a lot of quality compared to the price of the knife. So the smaller knife, I really find it powerful and giving you enough control, mainly when I carve with the paring motion like this, or I want to have small details or small control. And I feel that the shorter the knife, the less skill you need to handle it. So that's why I always recommend this size for anyone who wants to start. And the reason I love slide knives, and I use them mostly instead of straight knives, is that the curved blade really gives me the option to have more freedom when I carve. So basically, instead of only being able to carve flat, I can reach and I can move the handle, and as you can see, I can carve like this because I can lift the handle and reach spaces. It's a bit hard to explain like this, but it gives me much more freedom and lets me listen to the wood and go with the direction of the fibers, and having some crazy motions that you might find hard to reach with a straight knife. So this is the first one, and you probably noticed already, and many of you asked me why do I have this shape for the handles, this bizarre shape. All of these ones are handles that I made, and actually this knife, the next one, the Mora 106, this is the first handle that I made, a real one. I made it last year or even a year and a half ago, and it came to me, this shape. It was a journey of trying to figure out how to fit the knife exactly to my hand, and I like sometimes to work like this when the knife is sitting like this in the hand, and I wanted a handle that would give me support for the thumb. But what I didn't expect is that it would be extremely comfortable in the back of the hand, in the bottom of the hand. It acts a bit as a choke when I hold the handle and the knife. So whenever I handle the blade, and whenever I hold it, I feel quite comfortable to hold it tightly and still have a lot of freedom of motion, because it really sits comfortably and stable in my hand. So it's kind of like a shape that I took for the rest of my knives. And this one, the Mora 106, I really love for making really long curls, more for the finishing touches, making long and straight facets, compared to the small blade that kind of gives me less long cuts that I can make. So with the long blade I can like come and make a really long cut. Now the next knife that I have here is this one, which is a 100mm blade made by Jonathan Tamarkin, and he sent me this blade to try and to give my honest opinion on. And again, this handle is a handle that I made. I did not enjoy the handle as much, so I wanted to change it. And the steel is a bit better. The price is very high. I would say probably 10 times or a bit less than the Mora 106. The steel does have a bit better quality. I don't see such a big difference as I would recommend for someone who just start to carve, to buy a more higher end knife, because in the end this one is enough. The Mora 106 or a long slide knife from a cheaper company, it just will, the sharpness will last a bit less time than a higher end. I was sure that I will have much more power with this one, and I do have. It's a very powerful knife, but I find that I use it mostly again for the finishing touches, for making really long satisfying curls and cuts. So for me this one is really satisfying to carve with for the finishing touches. And I did notice that I go much more to this one, which is a bit smaller, just because I feel like I have more power and more like I feel more safe with it. And maybe because this one is the tang of the blade goes until here. That's my idea. Maybe might be wrong. And the Mora 106, or in general the Mora knives, the Mora blades, when you buy them, they have full tang, and what I did here is I connected it here with a piece of brass. So it feels very stable in my hand, it feels very powerful, and I feel very comfortable to do whenever I want to do really strong cuts. With this one I feel much more comfortable, and this one, I don't know why, like I think it's because of that. Just I feel there's a bit less power. By the way, this handle and sheath are made of maple, and the sheath, just like here, how I showed you in this one, it's made out of 2 pieces of wood that are connected together, that I carved, each part I carved individually. And this as well, this is from Ashwood, and it's finished with some wax and walnut oil and coffee, ground coffee and cinnamon to make this dark pattern in the porous part of the wood. And I really love how this turned out, how the sheath and the handle turned out. I'm really proud of this one. And then one of the latest knives that I've made, the handles that I made, is this one, and it's not completely finished. And actually it is my least favorite handle overall, or like the execution. I think mainly because I tried to make the bolster and it didn't work that well, so I had to improvise, and in the end the handle, like something there didn't work as I planned compared to the other knives that I made. So I added this string here, and this knife is, this blade is a beavercraft blade that I've modified. So I've cut it down. It was this size approximately. It was a small slide knife. I believe it was exactly this size, but I cut it down with a Dremel and made it small because I wanted something for really detailed work and small work. I found that when I do it with it's possible to do it with a Mora 120 with a small slide knife, but what happens is that when I hold it like this is how I usually hold the knife when I carve small details, especially in the paring cut motion. I have actually the holding position. I wish I had a handle in this area, as you can see here. You see that here in the end I don't need it to be that thick. I need the handle to be thick in this space. So I created this one, and as you can see, when I hold it, it actually fits perfectly in this space. So I could have really like small detail knife, and I still wanted to make it long because I still wanted to have the option to make long cuts and to have more control and more like momentum whenever I make these cuts. So when I make these cuts, the push cuts, or when I make some long cuts like this, some pull cuts, so I wanted still to have this choke mechanism and a bit more control and freedom carving with this one. And this one as well, it needs to get a sheath. I need to make it a sheath. It doesn't have one, and I have the wood, but I didn't split it yet, I didn't plan it yet, so I will need to do it very, very soon as well. So when I hollow forms and when I want to make it a spoons or bowls or any type of texture, I either will use hook knives or gouges, and I have here two types that I will be taking with me for the next few months. And the most simple one that I've been using a lot in the past years is the hook knife, the Mora 164. And this one is an older version that has a tip, and I really like this one because it gives me the option also to reach really small corners and to get into tight corners as well. And I also have the bigger one that is most common, and you probably see it these days more. But yeah, they both work great, so doesn't make such a big difference. And this is a sheath that I've been working on, and it's not a finished one, but it's made out of a simple wood that you can find in hardware stores or in renovation sites. I think it's pine or something like this. I just wanted to try something for the project that I will be talking about in the end of this video, and this has kind of been a simple trial for that. And yeah, I'm quite happy with that. It wasn't that hard to make and didn't take too long to make as well. The thing is with the hook knife is that I find it very comfortable and very safe, and I would recommend beginners to start with this one instead of gouges, just because the motion is much more intuitive and there's a bit more limit to where the blade can go, which gives a bit more safety when carving, in my opinion at least. Though it can lack sometimes power, especially when your hand is not used to this motion and you would need to really work these muscles. So beside that, the handle, in my opinion, that you get usually with the hook knives, I wished that the massive part of the handle would be closer to the blade, just because whenever I carve, I end up getting closer to the round part. So I have the knife like this, which gives me much more power and control. And whenever I do like this, I lose some of the power. So when I want to work fast, I always work like this. And it's a bit similar to the small detail knife, the small slide knife that I showed you before. So that's why I made the next one, the next handle, and I will show you here. So this blade, I bought it separately without a handle from Adam Ashworth. He's a forger, and he creates both sludge knife and hook knives, all type of tools. And it was quite cheap. It was not that expensive. He doesn't have that high prices for his blades. And first of all, I do like this shape, especially when I want to make eating spoons or whenever I want to make a bowl that I want the transitions to be much smoother. Eating spoon, like a spoon that doesn't have too much of the texture of the hook knife, a sharp texture. That's why you have here this flat part that is very nice for that. And for the handle, you can see that this part is thicker. So whenever I hold it, I have much more kind of grip that is powerful that I hold my hand and I move it like this, and it's very, very powerful and comfortable. And the only mistake that I did, I kind of like wanted to make a shape that will support my hand whenever I make this motion, whenever here. But it was when I did not understand yet as well the shapes of the handles that I want for my creation for my hand. And the mistake that I did that I should have done is I should have added something here in this part, because I don't have support to this part of the hand. I lose this effect of the choke that I told you before, and I can show you here. So I wish a bit it would be something like this, that when I hold and when I do this motion, I just feel like the blade will not go anyway, and I can feel quite comfortable moving around my hand while I'm carving, and just feeling on one hand being loose with my hands, and in the other hand, on the other side, putting more power. So yeah, but I still really love this one. I love the plum wood. I'm working on making a sheath. I have it, I don't have it next to me here, which is very similar to this one, but because I'm wanting to make the hinges nicer and having a closing mechanism that is much more satisfying and nicer and more high quality, it just makes me not finishing it. So it's been on hold for several months, making the sheath for this one. So I have here this improvised tape sheath that I made. Now, when it comes to the gouges, I've been experimenting in the last few months on working only with a small gouge to see what I can get from that. And it's a bit hard to see the size, but I believe it's around, the width is probably around 1 centimeter, and it's not that deep. It's I don't know, I cannot explain you exactly in numbers and words. I don't have this knowledge, but I believe you could see it on the camera. And the thing is that I'm working on creating simple things and showing them using only the basic tools, so the sloyd knife, the small sloyd knife, the hook knife, and an axe. And I want to add this tool as well and show how I create some things like a sheath or small boxes or small bowls, small spoons. So this for now is the tool that I'm using the most from the gouges, this size. And the handle, it's not like the blade itself is made by Flexcut, and they make interchangeable blades. You can see here I have many, and I really love them. Here they've been sitting for a really long time because I'm not using them that long, and they got a bit of rust. So I have all of these blades, and I really love the fact that you can take, I don't need all of them, I have here many, but usually I take like around this number with me when I want to travel, and it really gives me the freedom to change them and not taking too much space. And also another feature that I really love is that they do come with a plastic handle that I really, really dislike. I don't think it's comfortable. It's a bit too big. It's a bit too far from the hand. So I made 2 types of handles. The first one, I made this one, which brings the blade closer to my hand and makes me have much more control whenever I want to make any cutting motions or anything with a lot of power. So also I try to fit it to my hand and to make it smaller. And the next handle that I made, and again this one, it's interchangeable. And the next one is this one, which is supposed to give me a bit of a pen-like handle. So I could work with it like this if I want to really remove long, thin lines with gentle force, or I could use it like this, just with some leverage because it's longer. This one, it doesn't have a lot of leverage, but whenever I want to sweep and to do some big cuts, it helps me with that. And that's what I love about these blades, because I can make for them handles and I can evolve, and I'm now also thinking about other handles I can make. Some that would give me much more power, some that would give me small control for detail and really making it really, really close to my hands, the blade, something like this. So I need to really make the handle short. But yeah, that's something I really love about them. And when it comes to gouges, many people use V-gouges, and I've used a lot of V-gouges in the past, but in the last 2 years I haven't used them that much, mainly because I use the sloyd knife to make 2 cuts from the sides to make a V-cut, and I find that it works great. And these sheaths are made from cork, from wine bottle cork, so I just cut it and slowly kind of wiggled it through like this and made a sheath for it, and they work really great. And here I have another company that I really love, but I don't have that many tools of them. They're a bit more expensive, and it's Swiss made by Pfeil. That's the name of the company. And this gouge is very small, U-gouge, and I wish I had this size that I showed you, this one, with the Pfeil gouge, just because I love how they look. I think they are the prettiest from the things that I buy, that in my opinion at least. So yeah, just wanted to show this as well. I'm gonna take this as well and try to work with it. It will probably give me a bit of texture. It's not very good for digging wide areas because it's so narrow. Yeah, so these were the gouges. These, by the way, these small rolls, I made them. I have a video that I show how I made them, that I made like 2 years ago or something like this. But again, it is relevant to what I'm going to talk in the end of the video. So let's move on to the next tool. Now, as for the axes, I will be taking these two. And the first one is very simple, and I showed it in the last video. And this one is basically just a really cheap axe that I bought 3 years ago. I think back then it was $16, something like this. Probably now it would be like $20. And it's just was a cheap axe to split wood or to like really simple tasks. It had a bullet shape edge, and I had to sharpen it and make it more suitable for carving. So yeah, it took a bit of time to remove some material, because I needed to make the angle much more narrower, and also just didn't want to use too many power tools, so I used a bit of the Dremel, but mainly diamond plates and sandpaper. I'm taking it mainly because I want to show some videos, and I'm going to work on my project showing using simple tools that are not that expensive. And what I love about this one that surprised me, because compared to more expensive hatchets that I had and axes that I had, I found it more comfortable. And I think the main reason that I found it more comfortable was that when I hold it close to the head, two things are happening. First of all, it feels quite balanced. So when I hold it here, I think because the handle is quite long and the axe head is not too heavy, it feels quite balanced. It doesn't feel like most of the weight is on the head, and I feel like when I move it and when I hit the carving, it sits very comfortably in my hand. And the other thing is that the blade comes with a small curve towards my hands. So whenever I want to do small details when I'm axing, it helps me having a section of the axe that is closer to my hands, and then I can really make more accurate cuts. So this is why I find this quite nice for something to show for someone who wants to start, for someone who wants to have a tool that is not that expensive. And for sheath, I have here just a piece of leather that I improvised, like an old leather that I found, that I folded into half, and I just use a rubber band to keep it close. So you can see that it can be really simple. You don't need something complicated, but it is important to keep the tool safe and to keep the things around the tool safe. especially when you travel and you want to carry your tools around. Now the next one is a tool that I bought last year, and I think I've waited a bit too long to get myself an axe that is proper and that is well made and handmade. And this one is made by Kalthof axes. I just really love it. I love its size. It's a bit heavy, on the heavy side. You can see that the head is quite big, but I just love its size. I love how it feels in my hand. I love the shape, the natural shape, and you can really see that someone made it with attention and with love. And I would really recommend it. It was very expensive compared to other axes, around 250 euros. So yeah, this is just something to invest in. But I'm really happy I invested in it. And I really love it, and I know it will be with me for many years, hopefully my whole life. So yeah, I really love this one, and I can't wait to use it more, because I did buy it on March last year, but I didn't manage to use it as much because I had so many things going on. Okay, so these are the main tools, and finally I will show you some extra things that I have that I'll be taking. The first one I made a reel not long time ago, not a reel, short, that showed you just a bit the knife and the sheath. And this knife is a Higo no Kami knife. I think that's how you pronounce it. And it's a Japanese knife. It's made in Japan, and it's not meant for carving initially. It's basically like a small knife to have in your pocket, a small pocket knife. But what I did, I removed, it had a secondary bevel, so I sharpened it and removed it, and then it became really, really nice for carving. It has a lot of power, and I think it's mainly because it's very thick. The blade is very thick, but because the quality is so good and the hardness is so good, it lets me have a really nice and narrow edge and bevel. So yeah, it's like something that I was not expecting it to be nice for carving. Also the shape, I think because it has this curved, it's not flat, but it has a bit of a curve. It's really nice to make long cuts and curls, like really satisfying curves. The only problem I had with it, I was working with it for I think 6 months or a bit more, and after 20 minutes of carving, my hands started to cramp a bit and to hurt, and I sometimes had some blisters whenever I used a bit more force. And I was always thinking, I wish it would have a proper handle. And then it came to my head this idea to make a handle for it. So again, it's made like the sheath. It's made from 2 pieces of wood that I carved out and glued together, and I used some brass bolsters for it. And it fits really snug fit, and I really had to pay attention that it will fit nicely, because and a bit tighter in the beginning, because as I worked with it, it got a bit looser, and just with the force. But I really love it. It's really nice to have in my pocket, and the handle is simple shape. I don't need it to be something else. And it locks the blade as well, so I feel much safer carving with it. The only thing is when I use really strong force, and when I use really when I want to make strong cuts, there is a chance that it will get pulled a bit, but because it's quite tight, it doesn't happen that freely. So I just know that it's not for really strong cuts. But other than that, it protects the knife as well in my pocket. I think I will make also a video for you here on how I make this one, and I will make one sheath that doesn't have these bolsters that are brass. And the main reason is that now that I put it in my pocket, I don't like putting it with things that, like for example with my phone or some other things like my headphones, just because it might damage other things because of the brass. So I think I will do it only with some type of wire or string or something that will kind of make it more secure, but only wood and soft materials. But yeah, I love how it turned out. I love it, and I'm happy about the results. So I will be taking that, and I will having it in my pocket going to the beach, or just going around. And then I have these two that I've been using quite a lot, that are very useful, that everyone can make by themselves. And I basically buy a drill bit for metal usually, just because they have a bit more strength and a bit more hardness, so they last sharper longer. And either with a drill, with a electric drill, or just with my hands, I make a hole with the drill itself. So when it was loose, I just made a hole, and I glued it with epoxy to the handle, and I carve a handle, and then I just made a sheath like this, made a hole like this, and made a sheath. And this is I made not long time ago for my complete beginners video course that I made. So yeah, I would have made the handle a bit longer, like this one. You can see just like 1 centimeter longer. And this one I made, I think, almost 7-8 years ago. And I use it all the time for jewelry and small details when I want to make small holes. I really love this one. And it's just a simple tool that you can make, doesn't take a lot of space, and it's very fast to use. I don't need anything electrical. I just like come like this, and with patience and with being careful not to break the drill, I make a hole. So I'll be taking this. And lastly, I just want to show you this small tool, which is basically an aluminum flat bar. Don't know how you call it, but it's a sharpening tool that I glued with, I think the name is a carpenter glue tape. It's like a double-sided tape that is quite thin, and I glued just 2 sheaths of sandpaper. And I think I will make more, because I have only also one that I put wood in between to make it less flexible, but I found that this one is quite sturdy, and it's so thin and small and compact that I would love just having it in my bag, just a set of these ones, also with a strap, just to not take too much space. So this is the last thing, almost the last thing. And here I have something I've been working in the last few months, and it's a bag that I've created for my tools, and something quite simple that I made. Only I don't have a sewing machine, and I don't know how to use one, honestly, but I just did it with a needle and string, and kind of like for my tools, and I'm still working on a strap. And this leads me to the next point in general. Whenever I create sheaths, or whenever I customize my tools, I want them to be protected, and I want to do 2 things. I want to protect the tools and everything around them when I carry them, and I want the tool to be as accessible as possible and portable, so I could just throw it in my bag, throw it in my pocket without being scared that the sheath will open. For example, I don't like sheaths that cover only the blade, just because I'm a bit scared that with some motion it will just go off and the blade will get damaged, or my bag will just have a hole. So whenever I make a sheath, I want it to be sturdy, I want it to not hurt anything, so wood is perfect material for that. And also I try to make bags for most of the things that I have, and this is why I made this one, just to have something to carry all of my tools, and some pouches for different things. And this leads me to the final thing, the things that I told you before, that the big project that I'm working on, that I'll be working on in the next few weeks and 2 months. So I'm creating a new course. I already made one that is 8 hours long. It's for complete beginners, that shows you just basic techniques and gives you the freedom to carve whatever you want. And the next course is not necessarily for beginners, and the whole goal of this course is to show you how to customize your own tools. So I'll be making some bags and pouches, I'll be making sheaths for a knife, for hook knife, for the axe, I will make a handle for the knife. And the things, I will try to make them as simple as possible, that they don't require too many tools. that anyone could do it in their house with tools that they already have, except obviously like the carving tools like the Mora 120 hook knife, maybe a small gouge. And also I'll be showing how to make some sharpening tools, some different sharpening tools, and in general things to customize your own kit, your own carving kit. So yeah, I will be working on this project, on this course for the next few weeks, and I will be sharing with you here the process every week, every Sunday. And this type of videos that I already made, the last one and this one, that there's no script and I've kind of like show you behind the process. I've made them for more than a year for my Patreon. And I've decided to, for the next few weeks for this project, to kind of try and share it with you here on YouTube as well, just to see how it is for you, if you enjoy it. And yeah, I hope that like this I can give you much more value and content, and just to show you a bit behind the process and behind my craft and my creations. And I hope you enjoyed this video and you will enjoy everything that is about to come. So thank you for watching, keep creating, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.